I'm Lesley Canarium, Reader Conversations Librarian at the Rogers Public Library. For August Take It, Make It project, I thought I'd play a little bit with nail polish. I love nail polish. I always go out and buy funky colors every time I pass a display. But because I handle paper all the time, my nails are in terrible shape, so I have to find other things to do with nail polish. And this is one of the crafts I like. We're going to make these necklaces that celebrate your favorite books. I have included in your kit some pages from an old public library catalog, so hopefully you'll find a subject that suits you, or you might have an old book of your own that you want to cut a page from and use for this design. Important thing to remember, we are using nail polish. These are volatile chemicals. They will stain your furniture, so make sure that you've got wax paper to work on. And if you're working on this project with children, you want to make sure that they do not put any of the nail polish or touch their eyes or their mouth. Okay, let's get started. We're going to start with just perfectly ordinary plumbing washers like these. You can get them at any hardware store. They are dead cheap, so you should be able to do a lot of them. And on one side, we're going to highlight the book that we're interested in. I've included a couple of different pages from the public library catalog, an old public library catalog. I don't cut up new books. So you might pick one that suits your taste. I'm making this particular necklace for one of my coworkers who loves true crime. So I've selected an Anne Rule book. And you take your little piece of paper and your pen here, and you just outline the design. And get a pair of scissors. And cut out the pattern. If you have trouble cutting out the hole in the middle, you can actually cut a slit, and if that works better for you, it won't matter once you put the nail polish on. So there we go. Get rid of the bad pieces. Make sure you have a piece of wax paper down on your surface. We don't want to ruin any of your pretty furniture. And clear nail polish, which I always have on hand as emergency glue. It's also really good if you want to get a run in your stockings. And you can stop the run that way and just use the nail polish to glue it in place over the washer. Perfectly easy. And then we put a nice thick coat on top so it'll be nice and shiny. That is step one. At this point, you're going to want to stop and let it dry completely. I would recommend letting the nail polish dry overnight. You don't want to deal with any sort of tacky nail polish while you're working on this project. But since we all don't want to spend 8 hours of just watching me sitting here, I've actually prepared ahead of time another washer. This one has a classic reader's advisory because that's for me. So you can see how that dried nice and shiny. If there's a little bit around the outside, you can go ahead, trim it off, make that nice and smooth. And then on the other side, you're going to decorate it with tissue paper. I've included different colors of tissue paper in your kit. But I think with this one, I'm going to go with something, sort of pretty, and this will be nice in the winter. And cut out your outline. my nail polish. Glue it in place. Make sure it's nice and flat. If you don't want to touch the nail polish, I don't care if my hands get nail polish on them, but if you don't want to touch them, you can always use like a popsicle stick for this part. I think I want that a little more muted. The great thing about tissue paper is that it's thin, and you can pile it on for different effects. So I'm going to put a little bit of this silver on top of the blue and see how this looks. I haven't actually tried this combination before, so we're all going to find out together. And let's see what this silver looks like glued on top. And when this dries, also it's going to soak through the silver paper, and so you're going to see just a bit of the blue pattern underneath. And once again, let that dry overnight. By the way, please do remember, nail polish is a volatile chemical. It stinks. If I weren't doing a video, I'd be wearing my mask right now so I wouldn't have to smell it. Be careful with little children. You do not want to, if you decide to do this project with your children, be careful that they do not touch their eyes or their mouth while they are using the nail polish. Step 3 is, I've got this one here that I did ahead of time. Instead of doing the blue and the silver, I did sort of the old gold on the back, as you can see, which I think is a nice, makes a nice pattern. I've already gone ahead and trimmed it, but I want to polish it up a bit. So, oh, look, what's more useful than a nail file? Just sort of sand the edges just a bit so it's all nice and smooth. I am notoriously mingy when it comes around to crafts, so I'm always just looking for, little things I have around the house already that I can use instead of going out and buying special supplies and tools. There, that makes a nice smooth edge. If you like, if you can do an additional coat of nail polish around the edge, you might even want to try doing some colored nail polish if you happen to have it at home. I'm not going to do that. Make sure you give it another good drying time. You don't want to be dealing with sticky stuff. I'm going to stick a pen in there just to make sure that hole is nice and smooth. And then we've got a nice length here of cord. You're going to loop it in the middle like this. And stick it through the middle. You want to make sure unless for an artistic sake you want to have your words sideways or upside down, but I think I'd like to have mine a little more readable. And just stick the two ends through the loop. Like that. Tighten it up. Now, in the instructions I put in your kit, I gave you some suggestions for kicking this up at an additional notch. For example, if you have sparkly nail polish or colored nail polish, as long as it's clear of your own, you can try that and see what effects that give you. Or you can decorate this cord with beads and feathers, any that you happen to have of your own. So I'm gonna just take this beautiful dark bead here. So I'll do one bead in the center like that. And then I just happen to have this lovely little black feather. And I can stick that in there. If I wanted to, I could put a little bit of nail polish. If I decided I liked that, I would put a little nail polish on the end of the feather to make it stay in place. And then I've got, there they are, they're clear, so they're invisible. I'll just put one on either side of the other bead and the feather, like this. I wouldn't put nail polish on the beads though, because that would look kind of gooey when it dries, and you don't want that. Okay, there's that other bead. Put the beads, pull them in front of the feather a little bit so they show off and are nice and shiny. And as a finishing touch, I'm going to tie a little knot here at the end of each bit of cord. If normally at this point, I take a little nail polish and just paint over the knot, and that way it'll be secure and not untie itself. But you know, I don't want to get nail polish in my hair, so I won't show that to you right this minute. But there we are, finished. And then we just take and lift it up here and tie it around your neck at the length you like. I like my necklaces to dangle down, but if you want it even as a choker, you can do that and just cut the cord a little shorter. And there you go.